I mean, the biggest difference I saw coming here was the food, definitely. Different time schedules to eat the food. Like, I would never think it was like that, but just like we would never eat dinner at 5 p.m. That was like the biggest thing. I always talk about that with American friends, and that was like a huge difference. Obviously, the language, because we speak Spanish, and here in America they speak English. That was a huge difference also.
I don't think that there are huge differences between Germany and the United States, but for example, the nationalism, like here I see a lot of houses which have the American flag in front of the door, and when I was here at soccer games or anything, the people stand up and sing the anthem, and in Germany nobody would do that at a high school or university game.
I guess, like, pretty obvious, like the size of it is pretty different. Like, I'm from a really small country, so everything is like done much smaller, whereas here everything is done very big, and it's like a really diverse country, whereas my country, we're all like pretty similar, and it's much smaller everything.
I think it's the way people act to each other and the way people converse and just the way people talk to each other is very different. Like in Vietnam, we are more like close to each other, and we're not very open to new people coming by. Like for you guys, you're very easy to make friends, new friends, and you are welcoming to everyone. I mean, it's not like we are not welcoming to everyone. We are not just like good at expressing our like emotion to like new friends.
The biggest difference, I mean, I could say a lot of differences since I've come here. Like, I came here like 6 months ago. I came here during the spring, so it's been like almost a semester already over. There's been like a lot of differences, like the culture, the food, the climate, the temperature. Everything is very different. So I could say like a lot of everything is different because I'm from a really warmer part of the world, and I've never experienced winter, so this is going to be my first winter, so that's a very big difference.
The biggest difference, well, it's the religious freedom. It's probably because like we don't have religious freedom in Egypt, but we have it in here, so I can practice my my Christianity in here very well, and in Egypt no, because everyone like, you know.
So like the dominant religion then in Egypt is something else.
Yeah, they want Muslim, they want everyone to be like Muslim, and they would like, you know, like in Egypt, I mean in here, if you're like gay and like they say something and they're like, oh, you're gay, but then in Egypt, in Christianity, they don't talk to you. If Muslim knows you're a Christian, they might not even talk to you unless they're like, they know.
It's like a complete change from where I come from, especially Etown, because like it's a small town. I come from a huge city back home, so that was like, it's completely different.
There are not much differences, so a lot of things are similar, but maybe this segregation of church and government, we have that too.
I guess my country has been like very influenced by American culture, so like a lot of the culture is very much the same. Like we watch the same movies and listen to the same kind of music and all that, so there are a lot of similarities.
I would say it's a happiness and exciting to have a new like friends coming to you, and to be able to host them and to talk to them.
Similarities, like I don't know. I could spot a lot of differences easily. Similarities in sense. The easiest similarity is like both countries are democratic.
Everything as a technological thing, we have it in Egypt, but like in a different way.
So would you say things like Facebook and
Yeah,
Twitter
yeah.
are
We
pretty
do
big?
have. Everyone has Facebook.
Is it pretty big? Like
Yeah, it's pretty big too. Like now because they have like the what do I have? Their civil war, I think. Now, so they tweet it to each other. They record it and they put it online. That's how we know.
Just dealing with people differently, just because, as I said, I cannot express myself as I can speaking Spanish. And then like roommate situations, like people are very different, so you have to adjust to how people express themselves. And like when people say hi to you and say, hey, how are you? And you're like, oh, I'm fine. Like you start to explain your day. Hey, how are you? For Americans, it's just like hi, and you just have to say hi back. You know what I mean? Just like little things that you don't know how people are here and then back home. So just adjusting to people.
Yeah, I would say that it was actually just recently that like I experienced a culture shock referring to people, like that people are here not reliable, and like that's a thing I'm not used to. That was a shock.
I don't know if it was like a culture shock, but I guess she like had to get used to the fact that there were like a lot of social norms that was different. Like the way you like interacted with people and talked to each other was like very different from what I'm used to. So you just sort of had to like get used to that.
There are like very very different things that I experienced. For example, like I was here last 2 years ago for my senior year of high school for an exchange program, and I lived with a host family. So I was able to experience a lot of things in a family traditions that are totally different from mine. And my host mom, at the end of the year, she started saying some of the weird things I did before, like a long time before I just came here. And one of the things is the personal space, that I sometimes walk too close to people, even though I'm not really close to them. Because in Vietnam, we don't pay attention to that. We just walk so close to each other while we're walking or we talking to each other. But I don't think you guys do that here, if you guys are not close to each other.
I didn't experience culture shock because I already know about like the culture in the United States, how people live and how the kids and people around here live. So I didn't experience a culture shock because I already knew this is how it's gonna be. So when I come here, this is how everything's gonna look like. So I didn't experience a culture shock.
Well, here Americans are like individualistic. Like here, everyone is like their own. But in Egypt, everyone is working together. Even though like there's still a lot of problems, but in Egypt, like once you go to Egypt, you still see the love, like people loving. But here, everyone cares about themselves.
My country is really diverse in like little towns around the whole country. That's why there's like 37 official languages, because like there's a lot of different religions, but the dominant, like really dominant, is Roman Catholicism.
I think it depends on where you're from, but I think it's a little bit more like diverse in the United States.
It's a very diverse country, of course. A lot of different kind of people. Each state have their own type of like traditions and cuisines and stuff. So it's a very diverse country. So it's like 28. There's 28 official states in my country. So like I could say like 28 different cultures, traditions, and religions. So if you're from a state and go to a next state, you'd be like, it would be feel for you like as if you're going to a new country because you do not know the language, and so it would be hard. So it's a very diverse.
I feel like towards the future, people are most like, what's going to happen in like the next 10 years. So let's look at like the majors that will be best for the future, like environmental engineering and stuff like that. There's a lot of people going to that.
Think both, but a little bit more what is happening right now.
I think in my perspective, I would say we are focusing more on the future.
Right now, Egypt is focused. They only have hope. They have hope for the future.
I feel like as a community, as a whole, because like different parts of the country are focused on different things, like agriculture and this, and then all of like the supplies and foods like go throughout the country. So like everyone's focused on their thing, but they're trying to put it through the whole community. If you know what I mean? Like we just, as a community, I would say.
I think they're both kind of people, of course. I cannot really compare it.
For the community as a whole, no. That's why we started the war. Started it to defend ourselves instead of the government. We didn't want the government. We kicked the government out. And it was pretty racist, and the religious was too much. So we wanted everything for us, not one person.